Most people enter contests the way they buy lottery tickets, half-heartedly. They scribble a name, throw it into the universe, and hope destiny has had enough coffee that morning to notice them. And then there was Helene Hadsell, a woman who didn't just enter contests, she seemed to conquer them. She became known as the contest queen, and not because she won a free toaster once and turned it into family folklore for the next 50 years. No, Helene reportedly won more than 5,000 contests. Cash prizes, appliances, furniture, holidays, cars, boats, and most famously, a 4,300-square-foot house. Yes, an entire house. That tends to make the neighbors suspicious. People ask the obvious question. Was she unbelievably lucky, or was she playing a very different game? Because when someone wins once, we call it fortune. When they win thousands of times, we start asking uncomfortable questions. Helene believed it had very little to do with luck. She believed she had discovered a system. And strangely enough, that system began not with contests, but with a book. Back in the 1950s, long before manifestation became social media wallpaper, Helene came across The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Now, whatever you think of self-help books, some books don't just entertain you, they ambush you. This one did. One sentence stopped her cold. You can have anything you want, provided you know exactly what it is. Simple. Almost too simple. And yet most people fail right there. Ask someone what they want, and they'll usually answer with something beautifully vague, like, I just want to be happy. Wonderful. Would you like fries with that? Life responds better to specifics. You don't walk into a restaurant and tell the waiter, bring me some sort of food. Well, you can, but you may regret the surprise. Helene understood something most people ignore. Clarity is power. Confusion creates confusion. Decision creates movement. Soon after reading the book, she turned to her husband and announced, with the confidence of someone who had clearly just discovered a universal cheat code, we can have anything we want. A dangerous sentence in any marriage. Her husband, wisely, did not ask for a private island or a racehorse. He pointed to a newspaper contest, offering a fishing outboard motor. That was the target. The contest required contestants to write a short phrase about why they took Coca-Cola on outings. Most people would simply write an entry and hope. Helene did something else. She sat quietly and imagined already having the motor, not wanting it, not wishing for it, having it. She mentally stepped into the feeling of ownership. She pictured her husband using it. She felt it was done. No desperation, no emotional begging, just certainty. And a week later, they won. Now skeptics will say, well, someone had to win. Exactly. Helene's answer would probably have been, why not me? That question is far more powerful than it sounds, because most people secretly ask the opposite. Why would I win? Why would this work for me? Why would life choose me? And in that question, they quietly disqualify themselves. Helene didn't. She expected good things, not because she was arrogant, because she believed expectation shapes reality. That first win changed everything. Because once you prove something to yourself once, the mind stops arguing quite so loudly. She started entering more contests, and winning more contests, then more. Then more. It became almost absurd. She won mixers, trips, lawnmowers, furniture, televisions, bicycles, cash, and eventually the legendary house. A national contest run by the Formica Company attracted over 1 million entries. Most people saw impossible odds. Helene saw a delivery delay. There's a difference. By then, she had refined her philosophy into a simple 4-step formula she called SPEC. And honestly, this is where things get interesting. Because the formula sounds so simple, people dismiss it, which is usually how powerful things hide. SPEC stood for select it, project it, expect it, collect it. That was her method. Not complicated, not mystical theater with candles and dramatic background music, just a disciplined way of thinking. And in the next part, we're going to break down exactly how that formula worked, and why most people fail before they even reach step 1. Because the truth is this: Helene Hadsell may not have been winning contests. She may have been demonstrating a law most people never learn to use. Before we go further, I want you to do something powerful. Right now, down in the comments, Type these 4 words. I expect good things, not I hope, not maybe someday. Say it like you mean it. I expect good things because expectation changes energy, and energy changes outcomes. Helene Hadsell understood that winners do not beg life for permission, they prepare to receive. So drop that phrase in the comments right now. I expect good things, let that be your declaration. So what exactly made Helene Hadsell different? Was she simply lucky? Did she possess some secret psychic hotline to the universe? Or was she doing something most people never do consistently? Helene would tell you it was none of those things. She said the answer was simple. SPEC. Select it, project it, expect it, collect it. Now I know what some people are thinking. That sounds suspiciously like one of those motivational posters hanging in a dentist's waiting room. Fair enough. But sometimes truth arrives wearing very ordinary clothes. Let's break it down, because this is where the real lesson begins. Select it. This is where most people fail immediately. They want change, but they refuse to be clear. They say things like, I want more money. Wonderful, how much? I want success. Excellent. What does that look like? A business, a new home, financial freedom, peace? A red sports car and revenge? Specificity matters. Helene believed life responds to clear instructions, not emotional fog. You don't place an order at a restaurant by saying, bring me something nice and surprise me emotionally. Well, you can, but you may end up with olives, and nobody asked for olives. Helene treated desire like placing an order. Choose it, name it, own it. That first contest wasn't, we'd like something better. It was an outboard motor. Clear, defined, real. Most people stay vague because vagueness protects them. If you never define the dream, you never have to risk missing it. But that also means you never reach it. Clarity requires courage. Project it. This is where imagination enters the room. And most adults have a complicated relationship with imagination. Children use it naturally. Adults apologize for it. Helene didn't. She would mentally project herself into already having what she wanted. She saw it. She felt it. She rehearsed it internally. Not as a fantasy, as reality. This is where people misunderstand visualization. They imagine something far away. Someday. Eventually, hopefully, that is not projection, that is emotional tourism. Projection means stepping into the feeling now. You don't stand outside your future looking through the window. You walk in mentally and sit on the sofa. Helene imagined the boat motor as theirs. She felt the certainty of it. That emotional ownership mattered, because your subconscious mind listens more to feeling than language. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if your emotional state is whispering, this will never happen, guess which voice wins. Projection is emotional conviction, not performance, not pretending. Alignment. Expect it. This might be the most important step of all, because this is where people sabotage themselves. They ask for something and then immediately explain why it probably won't happen. They say, I'd love that, but, and after but, they usually bury the entire dream. It's too expensive, too late, too difficult, too competitive, too unrealistic. Too good for me. That last one is the real killer. Helene expected results. Not wished, expected. There is a huge difference. Expectation is quiet confidence. Wishing is often disguised doubt. Think about ordering food in a restaurant. You place the order, and then what? You expect it to arrive. You do not run into the kitchen every 6 minutes asking if the chef still believes in you. You trust the process. Helene approached life the same way. She selected it, projected it, then expected it. She believed there was no failure, only delay. That is a very different way to live. Most people treat delay as rejection. Helene treated delay as preparation. That mindset alone changes everything, because people do not usually quit because they are incapable. They quit because time makes them doubt. She refused to let time become an argument, and that is rare, very rare. This was never about magic. Now let's be honest, Helene also worked at it. She studied contests. She understood what judges looked for. She learned that humor won attention. She knew originality mattered. She didn't sit on the sofa, chanting at a toaster and waiting for destiny to deliver prizes. This wasn't magic replacing effort, it was belief directing effort. That distinction matters. Manifestation without action is just expensive journaling. Action without belief often becomes exhaustion. But when belief and action move together, something powerful happens. You stop behaving like someone asking for permission. You start behaving like someone preparing to receive. That changes posture, energy, decisions, identity. And identity drives outcomes far more than motivation ever will. This is why Helene fascinated people. Because she wasn't just winning contests, she was proving a principle, a dangerous one, that maybe life responds differently to people who truly expect good things. Not occasionally. Consistently, and in the final part, we'll talk about the biggest lesson hidden inside her story. Because the real prize may never have been the house. It may have been something far more valuable, something most people spend their whole lives trying to find. By the time Helene Hadsell became known as the contest queen, people had already made up their minds. Some called her lucky, some called her gifted, some probably called her suspiciously good at writing about kitchen appliances. But Helene saw it differently. She believed she was simply using a law that everyone has access to. Not a secret reserved for special people, not magic, not luck. A law. And that idea is both inspiring and slightly inconvenient. Because if she was right, then many of us have been blaming life for results that actually began in our own thinking. That's not always a comfortable conversation. It is, however, an honest one. Helene often repeated something powerful. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. That is not just a nice quote for a coffee mug, that is architecture. That is how lives are built. Most people think destiny arrives like weather, random, unpredictable, something that happens to you. Helene believed destiny is constructed, quietly, daily, thought by thought, choice by choice, expectation by expectation. That's a very different way to see life, because suddenly the conversation is no longer, why is this happening to me? It becomes, what am I repeatedly telling life to bring me? That question changes people. Most people lose before life says no. This might be the greatest lesson in her story. Most people do not fail because the world rejects them. They fail because they reject themselves first. They decide they are too late, too old, too unknown, too unlucky, too ordinary. They withdraw before life even answers. They cancel their own order. Helene refused to do that. She entered the contest. She sent the application. She believed she belonged in the winner's circle before the world confirmed it. That matters. Because confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is permission, and too many people are waiting for external evidence before they allow themselves to believe. But belief usually comes first, not after. First. That is the uncomfortable truth. The world often mirrors identity. If you move as if you expect disappointment, life becomes strangely cooperative. If you move like someone who expects opportunity, doors seem to appear. Same world. Different posture. The house was never the real prize. Yes, she won the house. And let's be honest, that is a fantastic sentence. I manifested inner peace is lovely. I manifested a 4,300 square foot house gets more attention at dinner parties. But I don't think the house was the real victory. The real prize was certainty. The belief that life was not random chaos, that she had influence, agency, participation, that she was not merely reacting to life, she was shaping it. That mindset is priceless. Because once a person believes they can influence outcomes, everything changes. They start businesses, they leave bad relationships, they move cities, they write books, they take risks. They stop asking for smaller dreams, they stop negotiating with fear. And perhaps that is the true legacy of Helene Hadsell. Not the contests, not the trophies, not even the house, but the demonstration. The proof that expectation matters, that clarity matters, that identity matters, that winners often think differently long before they win differently. Your life has contests too. You may not be entering a slogan competition for a blender, probably for the best, but your life has contests. Every day. Opportunities, conversations, decisions, risks, doors. The question is not whether life is offering chances. It is whether you believe you are someone who can receive them. That is the real contest, and most people lose it privately, silently, before anyone else even knows they were playing. Helene Hadsell reminds us to do something radical. Select it, project it, expect it, then prepare to collect it. Simple words, difficult practice, powerful results. So maybe today the better question is not, can this happen for me? Maybe the better question is, what would change if I truly expected it could? That is where the real work begins. And perhaps that is where the real winning starts. Before we finish, I want you to leave one word in the comments. Collect, not hope, not maybe. Collect, because that word means you are no longer waiting, you are preparing. Drop it below. Let it be your decision. Let it be your signal to yourself. And remember this. The universe often responds to the people who stop asking timidly and start expecting boldly. If this video resonated with you, give it a like and subscribe so that we can continue this amazing journey together.